Hello everyone, this is My Africa Show and I am Agabelai. Today we'll be talking about Women's Day. As you guys can see, I was really excited to talk about Women's Day because I'm a woman, plus we're Africans. We have a lot of things to talk about when we bring up this topic. And also the past Wednesday was March 8th. And Women's Day, we have celebrated that feminine power that we have. And I also would love to say Happy Women's Day for all my sisters out there fighting for their existence, fighting for who they are, and really to get what they want. I would love to say keep up. In this episode on My Africa, there's this reason why I chose this topic. And there's this reason why I want to see Women's Day in different dimension. It's because the first one, when we talk about Women's Day, we talk about this gender inequality, about the violence, the abuse, the harassment that we women face. And I just feel like we have been talking about that for a very long time, that I'm not saying it's useless. It is equally important. But on My Africa, on this episode, I guess let's just focus on women's achievement on Africa. Well, let's relate women's achievement in the continent of Africa. So there's this leadership, there's music, there is literature, art in general. There's a lot of things that women impacted this continent, the whole world in general. But for this episode, I have chosen in politics and economy. The second one will be in art in general. That means music, drawings and so on. And the last one will be the beauty of we Africans, African women that we have, are about our beauty and about our standards, because that thing is just slipping out of our hands lately. I love to talk about that issue. So when I start from the politics and economy, there's, when I was reading a lot of names that I have never heard before, it was really hard for me to pronounce their names, to tell you guys the truth. But we have that much people, that much women that contributed, that had role in creating the Africa that we have today. So I just chose three women that I'll be mentioning right now. The first one is Etegeit Aitu Bitul. Okay, so I know we have talked about Etegeit Aitu and also Emperor Menelik on the past episode on the Battle of Adwa. But when we specifically see the role of women, come on, we have to mention Etegeit Aitu, right? So Etegeit Aitu had a very huge political role, as I have talked about in our previous episode. But when we talk about Aitu, we always mention her with this this power, this strong feeling of this strong feminine power, feminine energy that she has. If she says no, it's no. If she says yes, it's yes. that power that she has. But we don't really think that she had that much contribution for the peace in the peaceful time. When we think of Aitu, we think of war, not that peaceful time. So I'll try to just touch a bit of it. So the first thing is that she used to raise orphans and she used to educate them to be a priestess, teachers, and she used to even elect them for different prestigious government positions. Yes, she used to do that. That shows how genuine that she was. And also, when we talk about this economic role that Aitu had, she actually established this association of agriculture and trade to promote that agriculture, because nowadays I feel like we Ethiopians, even though majority of our population, and also we Africans, our economy depends on agriculture, but we still are not that much intact to it, especially this coming generation. So she wanted to work on agriculture because agriculture is very important for us Africans, from the location that we have, from our climates and the soils that we have and everything. We should use it because it's our biggest resource. And she did that. She established that association. Furthermore, what surprises me about Etegeit Aitu was that at the time, Menelik gave her this choice, this chance and wish to choose the capital city of Ethiopia. There were other choices that she was given, and one of the choices was Addis Ababa, the capital city of the current day Ethiopia. And she chose Addis Ababa out of all those choices that she was given because of the strategical location. And Addis Ababa, if we really notice it, it's surrounded by mountains, so, and also it has a very high elevation, so you can see if any invader or any enemy is coming towards Addis Ababa to attack. So she's smart, she knew what to do, and I think that's another role of her in the politics. And also, when we come to the political role that she had, I mean, we know it. We have heard it from the history and also from the things that related to the Battle of Adwa. But what I want to talk is she involved in decision making, okay? Because when I say this, it might not be really surprising for most of us because we're living in the modern age. But at that time, like 100 years ago, 200 years ago, women involving in decision making is really rare. Okay, her voice, she was not only making that decision, her voice was heard. She was that much influential. And she also had this role of diplomat. She was able to negotiate. As a woman, we all have that, you know, strength. But at that time, it was really rare of seeing women having that much power as a woman and actually exercising that power. And also, when Minilik felt ill, she controlled the power on behalf of her husband and she ruled Ethiopia. But then other challenges came by and things went to the way they went. Okay, the next one that I will be saying will be the Agojis, or the female warriors of the kingdom of Dahomey, which is the current day Benin. And I will be saying about them. What I love from that kingdom and what I will be mentioning and what I will be trying to see today will be that female military power that they had at that time, called Agoji, Agoje, and also it was called Mino. But I'll just refer them as Agojis. So the Agojis they protected the kingdom. Not only that, okay? Not only that. You might say that's easy, which we all know it's not, but they do not only defend the kingdom, but they also protected the king. The king actually chose those female warriors to protect him. You see, I mean, males are not that much to trust. I'm kidding. But also, what really amazes me about these female warriors is that they live totally isolated from the society. They were not allowed to get married, and they were not allowed to have any kids. They dedicated their whole entire life to protect their king and their kingdom, which shows how much we females are dedicated. And their time of existence was in the 16th century. You see, why I'm saying this is because now I want you to imagine, go back hundreds of years ago, imagine a female fighting, defending, and having that authority. You know, also what I really love about the Agojis is that they were not only fighters, they were not only warriors, they were wealthy people. They had a very good positions. They were economically independent. Okay, they don't need money. They were just doing that willingly to serve their kingdom and their king. They loved that whole concept. And also, at the time, the Agojis also participated in different trades. They used to sell, and they were really eager to have this commercial connection with Britain to sell palm oil, and they favored more of selling palm oil than slave trades. But as time goes by, when the king tried to, you know, shift to that kind of a business, it was not that much fruitful. So he went back to the slave trade. But the Agojis actually they actually used to sell this kind of palm oil. That shows that you're not only expected to become a warrior and be, you know, like zero-sum when it comes to the business, but you can be a businesswoman, you can actually generate money for yourself and be financially independent, and at the same time you can do what you love by defending your country and your king. And they were also known that they never had this fear. They never feared and they never run away from any kind of danger. So they had that kind of fearlessness, in which that feeling helped them to achieve whatever they want. And they existed for years and they protected that kingdom and their king and their people and their nation in general. The third person that I would love to mention in this sphere of the politics and economy is President Ellen Johnson. So President Ellen Johnson was the first female president in the whole entire history of Africa. And also she was the first democratically elected female leader of Liberia. So what did she do? What did she contribute for the country Liberia? The first thing what she did was that before President Ellen came to power, there was a lot of chaos. There was a lot of civil war in Liberia. So when she came to power, she was able to stabilize the economy. Okay? She was able to stabilize the economy that was in shake at the time. And also, in her time of ruling, what she did was that she made this Freedom of Information Bill, which means that she declared this Freedom of Information Bill, which means that every Liberian citizen, on behalf of every other benefits that they're going to get, she made them access, and there was this freedom of documents. Anybody can access, anybody can know about Liberian status and how Liberia is going on. She made that a freedom of information, which made Liberia the first West Africa country to actually issue that kind of a bill. And also, President Ellen Johnson focused on stabilizing the economy and really making Liberia as to stand in her two legs. She focused on relief debts that Liberia had on US and Germany, and she was able to pay over 16% of the debt obligation that Liberia had to the IMF. And she made sure that the national annual borrowing does not exceed from 3%. You know, that was really hard to balance that moment, especially the Liberia that she, received, and the Liberia that she wanted to create and actually created had its own struggle, had its own friction. And also she focused on inclusive governance. So she made sure that women's were part of her cabinet. She made sure that people from different parties of hers made their contribution for their country by including them to the governance of Liberia at her time of ruling, which is such a beautiful and powerful thing. And also what I don't want to forget to mention is that in her time of ruling Liberia for over 12 years, okay guys, for 12 years, she made sure that her governance included different marginalized groups, including women, people with disabilities, and also she included other people from different parties of hers. And after her time was done, and when the other election came, she was willing to give her power democratically, peacefully. That actually helped Liberia and her economy, and to actually rehabilitate from that influence and from that effect that they have faced by the civil war. So this is the three people that I want to talk about the women's achievement in the politics and economy. And now I'll be talking about the art. So art is a way to the heart, right? It's the way in which we get to communicate, especially back in the days when we are not able to speak for ourselves, where we're not able to speak what we feel. Music was how we expressed ourselves. Art in general was how we say about what we were feeling deep down inside of us. So the first one that I'm going to see is going to be Maria Makeba. So as you guys can see from the picture, Maria Makeba had her own characters. She was that woman, you know? She had her own boldness. She had her own flaws. She was herself. She was the whole story to tell. And also, she was the first African artist to bring African music to the international spotlight. She gave that African music that natural taste, and at the same time she gave it her own flavor that made it really competitive to the international market. And also, most people say that she used to sing politics, but the truth was she spoke her heart. Even though it was a time of apartheid and there was a lot of injustice that she saw while being raised there, she more connected to the music. She connected to how she felt herself and how she felt free when she sang on the stage, when she held that microphone. That's what she focused on. And throughout her performance, throughout her career, she never straightened her hair. She never used this artificial makeups. I'm not saying I'm against makeup. I'm a woman. But as I have said earlier, she had her own characters. She felt like that was destroying her African identity, and as if she was getting against her culture, against her tradition. That's what it felt like for her. So she made sure that she kept that African identity on her when people see, so that they can see Africa, so that wherever she goes, she portrays Africa. You know what, guys? I will get back to this. I will get back to this, and we will be talking about, because I have said I'll be talking about the beauty of we African women's. So Mariam Makeba, her voice was magical. She sung beautifully. She fighted that social injustice through her voice. She fought for the equality of women by her voice, okay? And the next person that I would love to see is our generation, you know, our generation person. I just feel like I'm going a bit back. So let me take you guys a bit to this day, and I'll be talking about Mahlet ArtsTvWorld, okay? Well, you know, I am a very huge fan of her. I'll be coming why, and I know a lot of you guys are a fan of her, because the first thing is that she was motivated by her mother. Okay, she was influenced by her mother, because at the time her mother used to you know, do a lot of traditional clothes. She used to sell them for people to wear on Sundays when they go to the church, and also she used to sell that clothes for different, you know, holidays. And Mafi saw that. She was deeply influenced because she loved that texture that we Africans and also we Ethiopians have, which was really beautiful. Once she started to grow up, you know, she was into the music and on and on. And then she discovered that she loved this aesthetic culture of hip hop. And at the same time, she loved this traditional content that we Africans have. You know, from the color, from the texture of the clothings and everything. So she made sure to balance the two, to mix the two, and make this wearable clothes that we can use in our daily lives. That's what I really love about her, because nowadays we are not able to do that. Either we're extremely traditional or extremely modern. It's really hard to be in that middle position in which we can be, oh, really traditional and at the same time really modern. So her clothes show that small detail, that small culture, that small touch of the identity. You can tell a story by seeing the clothes. And she made sure that everything that she uses is recyclable. It can be used again, it can be reused again. And also she whatever she uses is actually really eco-friendly. Okay, so she made sure that she balanced everything in between. She's actually marketing our designs, our you know, the textiles in international market. So when people see, you know, they can see Africa in her clothes, they can see Ethiopia in her clothes and her styles and everything. And that's what she is using to actually put her print, her achievement, her role, her contribution for African and also for women's all around the globe. All right, now we will be talking the third part of our today's topic, which will be the beauty of Black women. And I feel like nowadays we're actually being, you know, proud of our skin tone, our skin color, and also, you know, our hair and everything, because at the time of colonization, I feel like the Westerns had actually really influenced our standard of beauty, our standard for actually everything. So we bleach our skin to become much lighter. We actually we straighten our hair to have that kind of silky kind of hair, because we don't like our afros, because we don't like our kinky hair, you know? But that's where the beauty is. And that's why I really love Mariam Makeba. As I have mentioned, I have said it earlier, she actually enjoyed it. She actually enjoyed being by her hair, that kinky afro hair. And she's actually the reason why we still use that style as a, you know, afro vibes, afro kind of hair. So why do you think our standards change? It's actually because of the Western's influence. But what is our standard of beauty nowadays? As an Africans, as an African women, okay? How do we show our beauty of our continent and also ourselves as a women, as a Black woman? Okay, I'm going to challenge you guys a bit. I'm not a kind of person that uses makeup. I'm not against makeup either. I want you guys to focus on that too. But as an Africans, the things that we apply, the things that we see as a standard of beauty, does it actually shows our Africa? Does it actually tell us about where we came from? You know, our styles, our identity, is it seen in that appearance of us? So does it really show our identity from where we came from? Does it show our Africa, you know, our origin? Because that's what it is. We all are diplomats of our continent. We are all diplomats of where we came from. So let me challenge you guys. Just think about it, you know, the things, the standards that we have, especially about beauty as a black woman. Does it really show who we are as an Africans, as a black woman? The makeups that we apply, the hairstyles that we do. I love braids, and I know we all do, especially nowadays. It is coming in different styles. But the point is, those of us that have kinky hair, those of us that have afro hair, what do we feel when we go to the public? Are we really proud of the kind of hair that we have as an Africans? How do we use that to show, to actually, you know, like bring out that African identity to the international people? Because the fact that when I get proud of what I have, the nature that I have as an African, then other people around me get comfortable to become who they are, to actually accept themselves, their traits, their physical appearance as who they are. Okay, so I want us to really think, and I want you guys to also share us, what is your standard of beauty? What is your standard of who you are that you show as a woman, as a colored woman? Because it has its own impact, its own influence, its own role on creating the kind of Africa that we want. And also, and related to what our standard of beauty is, how can we actually bring out that natural beauty of us? You know, which means that we have been influenced by the Westerns on how beauty is. So how can we put that thing aside? We can clean that out of our head and find the right form of our beauty as an African, because I feel like we have lost it. So I want you guys to share this. I want you guys to talk about this and let us know what you think and believe about this topic. And again, happy Women's Day, everyone. I would love to bring up about the AU Agenda of 2063, because that's how we're functioning as an Africans right now. So the AU 2063 agenda talks about to eliminate this violence and abusement that happens on girls and women, and giving this equal opportunity, equal chance, equal stage in which women and men can perform equally. And the real thing is that AU's agenda of 2063 is useless if we do not know our role as an Africans, as a women. Okay, that's how I want to conclude this show, because it's really important. We here, the people that we're living in the urban part of the continent, urban part of the city, we don't see the influence. I swear, we don't see how this is really, really huge. But when you go to the rural part of the area, when you go to this countryside of country, even in the border sides of the city, you see a lot of women's actually getting impacted, actually getting harassed, actually being in that pain every single day. And one of the biggest pillars of AU's agenda of 2063 is to abolish this kind of harassment, this kind of abusement and violence that happens to women. So what are we doing to actually make that happen? What is the contribution that we're trying to contribute in our workplace, in our home, in our environment? What are we doing? What is our role? We should actually identify that. We should actually understand the power that we women have as a black woman, and really use that potential, really use that ability, that real texture that we have to, you know, make that change and create the Africa that we want, in which we get that equal opportunity, that we get our voice heard equally, and exercise that power that we have as a women and also as an Africans. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I truly believe that we are all influenced by some women in our life, either our wives, or mother, or sister, aunties, or someone. So this is not only about women, it's also about men helping women reach to the kind of place that they deserve, to the success that they need to, you know, get to. So That's what I want to say. For all of you guys that have your ideas, that have your own thoughts, please do not forget to share us, to give us your idea and your opinion, your outlook on our short SMS 6121. And besides that, for our digital audiences, please feel free to share us your thoughts and your ideas below this video, and we'll come back at it on the next episode. And also, if there is any ideas, any topics that you guys would love for us to bring up on our next episode, feel free to bring it and to mention it below this video and also in our short SMS 6121. Until I see you guys next time, I would love to say Happy Women's Day and goodbye.